Are you tired of being overcharged and forced into paying a monthly subscription for your Mac and Windows software? Well, if you are, currently we're having a 50% off discount on all the latest Mac and Windows software, such as AutoCAD, SolidWorks, Photoshop, Microsoft Office, and much more. Our 50% off discount will be ending soon, so be sure to text us "Need Software" to 323-405-1341. That's 323-405-1341. We aim to please, so expect 24/7 technical support, the latest premium software, instant software links delivered to your email, and PayPal buyer's protection guarantee.
My guy, Keith Murray. Happy New Year, Mac Mizzle. My guy, Keith Murray, is out here wilding in these internet streets. Keith, you from my era. Got love for you. But you wilding right now, Brody. So recently, he went on, damn, I forget the name of that joint. Art of Dialogue, I believe it is. Oh. And, yeah, he went on there and proceeded to share a sex story about him and Foxy Brown. First of all, you know, people say with like Rick James, cocaine is a hell of a drug. Well, some people don't know that dust is a hell of a drug. Bombazi is a hell of a drug. Michael Brown said, Keith Murray ate all the industry box in the 90s, apparently. We're going to get to it, Michael Brown. Yeah. Yeah. Yo. So, man, first of all, you know, the way Keith is looking nowadays and the way he speak is like somebody that's on dust. Like when he's talking and he's kind of like that's some dust shit. Like, it's hard for you to form your words a lot of times when you smoke dust. Like, I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I smoked dust back in the days, way back in the days. And part of what made me not like it and stop fucking with it is that it's hard to communicate when you on it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't kick it to broads and shit like that. I remember getting dusted and having a girl come over to the and man, I just sat there. I ain't say a word to her. I was so fucking stuck. And man, I fucked that up that day. So yeah, but that's some, you know, niggas used to smoke dust back in the days. That was some shit that certain niggas did, but then they would keep it. People that kept it going like into the 90s and the 2000s, that was some other shit. Like, we used to fuck with it in the 80s. But anyway, this guy is like, it's kind of, it's whack. Let's keep it real. It's corny. Like, bragging about box that you got back in the 90s and we're here in 2023 and apparently, you know, it seemed like Keith was eating a lot of box without hitting it. Like, even though he tried to say that that Foxy was, you know, in his words, What'd he say? Oh, she gave him whip wop galore. She gave him whip wop galore. And I don't know, he's telling the story as if like, you know, you was back then or some shit, like you was a young kid, you know, bragging to other young kids about some shit, like, you know. But it's like we grown ass men right now. And a real man is not supposed to be kissing and telling, you know? Yeah, let's clap it up for that. A real man is not supposed to be out here kissing and telling, especially when, you know, the woman is somebody that we all know. Like, what's the purpose of that? And it seemed like he was going out of his way to make it a point that she was with Corrupt at the time of all of this going on. Now, I know Corrupt, you know, he's not with her no more, but it's like, that's not no shit he want to hear. Like, even now, I'm sure he don't want to hear no shit like that. And like, if you knew that was his girl and all that, you know, you consciously disrespected and did it anyway. Like, you know, oh, we're gonna get to Shawnna too. We're gonna get to Shawnna. Don't worry. You consciously did it anyway. Like, and now you're gonna come on the internet and like tell people and zero people in on the timeline of exactly when it happened and like trying to make it sound even crazier and make her sound grimier. I don't know. I think, you know, it's kind of whack. Yeah, it's kind of whack. Then I saw one where he was talking about getting in a fight that he snuffed Prodigy. You know, I guess there's different sides to all stories. But then he comes back with another one. He comes with the DJ Khaled and says, and another one. And another one. So let's see. He does a DJ Khaled. And then he brings up homegirl Shawnna from DTP. Says he was messing with her. Ludacris told him not to fuck with her, but he did it anyway. And he seen her one day and was in the studio and start playing with her feet or some shit like that. And then he said he started eating her box. And he proceeds to like act it out and shit like that. Act like give us a little demonstration of and it was just like, yo, Keith, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why would you do this? Fucking Subliminal Frequency said that interview was disappointing. Dude looks crazy and sounds worse. That ish was sad to watch, man. It was. It was. Like, remember when Keith Murray was like, you know, that hot dude on the scene, like with that youthful energy of just saying what he wanted on, you know? But it's like, that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. And, you know, I think the brother has continued to smoke Bombazi and all of that because I've seen the motherfucker high as a motherfucking giraffe's eyelash. I've seen him higher than a research monkey numerous times. And I know the difference between somebody being high off motherfucking, drunk or some shit, or being high on some fucking wet. And Miss Necessary said, what is dust? Dust, depending on what part of the country you're from, it might be called wet. Where you live at. In DC, they used to call it love boat. They call it boat. Embalming fluid is really what it is. Smoking embalming fluid, formaldehyde. Yeah, that's what it is, Miss Necessary. It's embalming fluid. It's formaldehyde. And people smoke it to get high. The same shit that they put inside dead bodies. People smoke this and it gets you high, like motherfuckers used to jump off roofs and shit back in the days when they used to smoke dust and shit like that. Like dust would have you, wilding. Like some people smoke dust one time and it's tripping forever type of shit. Like never come back from the shit. It ain't nothing to fuck with. But yeah, they sherm stick. That's another thing they used to call it, depending on where you came from. They call it dip. It has a lot of different names. Heard those terminologies. I don't know where you from, Miss Necessary, but if you heard any of those terminologies, you too hollow Vegeta. Because when I say dust, that's like some New York shit. Like a lot of people from New York call it dust, angel dust. Yes. And Keith Murray used to rhyme about Bombazi. That's what, even though they're saying it wrong because it was called Bombazik, back in the days, they used to have this dust in Harlem called Bombazik. And somehow, Redman and Keith Murray and them, they used to fuck with the dust and shit. And they was calling it Bombazi. But I think that's just what they thought it was called or whatever. But it was called Bombazik back in the days. But that's a whole nother story. So yeah, dust has many different names, and it really, yes, Tikal is dust too. Tikal is another name for dust that Method Man came. Yeah, Method Man came with the Tikal shit. That might be some Staten Island, you know what I mean? Very particular to Staten Island, because dudes in Staten Island was smoking dust too. So I say all that to say, if some of you are not familiar when I say dust, all of these things are the same thing. Dust, Tikal, Bombazi, fucking dip, wet, boat, fucking formaldehyde. It's all the same thing. Okay? So that's your fucking sherm stick. Yup. We gonna smoke a dip, just a little bit. Sherm stick. That was my shit. I can't front. J.O. Felony. Shout out J.O. Felony. Yes, tell him, Richard. Dust was big in New Rochelle and Mount Vernon back in the 80s. A lot of the shootings in New Rochelle and Mount Vernon was behind PCP. Hey, I know when it was time to go get some, we used to go to Mount Vernon right on 3rd or 4th Street Playground. Go get you some dust. But anyway. So yeah. So apparently, this guy, Keith Murray, is the box eater. He's the box eater of the fucking industry. And if you let him talk enough, I'm sure there's more boxes that he may have ate. There's more boxes that he may have ate that we don't even know about and shit. That we don't really want to know about. So Keith, listen, If there are more famous boxes that you ate and didn't hit, we don't want to know. Even if you did hit it, we don't want to know about your sexcapades. Okay? We're not interested. Like, that shit don't make you look live because you know what I mean? You had sexual relations, with these women. Okay? I'm gonna tell you straight up. And don't try to get mad and all of this type of shit. Oh, Lord Jamar was talking about me eating boxing. Man, take that shit somewhere else. I'm just letting you know, as somebody from your era, you know what I mean? As one of your peers, the shit you doing right now is whack, Brody. That shit is super fucking corny. People's taking advantage of you, I think, with these interviews, having you say shit like that and allowing you to look how you was looking on the camera and all of that type of shit. Like, come on. Offer the man some lotion or something. Like, come on, man. Stop it. And I do see this, that dialogue, they definitely get a lot of good people on there, but I definitely see how, like, his format is kind of Vladish and shit, like even the way he got the camera positioned and all of that reminds me of Vlad and shit. Vitamin Vision TV, thank you, said, being his peer in rap, was he always that wild? Yes, he always was wild. Like, he, ever since I known him, he just was a wild dude, and you just might see him somewhere just high, dusted, but he was able to put out good music. You know what I mean? Fucking, yeah. He was just able to put out really good music. When that Most Beautifulest Thing in the World first came out, yo, that was my joint. Like, the beat, just everything about it, like fucking his voice on it, the way he just rhymes so free, and just, I was just like, yo, who is this dude? Like, and yo, he was Keith Murray from Long Island, and them boys smoked dust out there in Long Island too. Niggas smoked dust out in Jersey and shit like that. In Newark, niggas were smoking dust. So when all these people start to get together and they have these things in common and shit, and they were still doing it, shit happens. But not for nothing, my man Tame One, rest in peace, used to smoke that fucking dust. And you can't tell me that didn't contribute to his passing. You can't tell me that. Like, I know it had to in some shape, form, or fashion. So I'm just saying, like, Keith, knock it off. You know what I mean? Like, knock it off. If you a grown-ass man, then we know that you got some pussy in your life, that you fucking, you know what I mean? That you ate some pussy, whatever the fuck. Like, we know you've had sexual encounters in your life. If you're a grown-ass man, we don't need you to try to, prove that you did some live shit. You know what I mean? But it's like, even when he was talking about he had Shawnna, and yo, I had what did he say, 160,000 or some shit like that for the Benz. Like this is all like somebody who is just remembering and living in the past. You know what I mean? Like, you almost gotta feel sorry for him. Because I could see him like, yeah, that's when I had my Benz, and that's when I was eating the box of famous rappers, and that's when life was good. Somebody said, Subliminal says, did they pay him to sit for that interview? Does it sound like he needed a check? Keith Murray needs to take several seats for this. Dude is a complete disappointment. So sad. I don't have any knowledge if he was paid or whatever the case may be. They say Keith is 48. All right. Well, he right behind, he right behind me. Few years younger. Which is, which is why it's kind of weird that he still was smoking dust. Like, I don't know. I just thought niggas been had stopped. Like, but yeah, somebody said the God Murray is down 1,000 points off that interview. Facts. Facts. That shit was whack, uncalled for. Like, what have these women done to him lately that he should feel the need to call these women out on some shit they did with him in the past when they trusted him to give themselves whatever degree and now you're gonna just like try to out them on some like, yeah, just some bullshit. Goddess said these dudes are weirdos. She said him and Irv. Yeah. Somebody said, Lord, what if a female did the same thing? That's a good question. Because, the freak in a lot of us would probably like, who, depending on who it is, might like hearing the story. But nah, it wouldn't be either way. It shouldn't be cool. First of all, yeah, it's probably even worse if a woman's saying it. Now that I think about it, if a woman is bragging about her sexual exploits, that's even worse. That's even worse. That's why we got the Meg Thee Stallions of the world and shit like that. Like, that's what the fuck. That's all the fuck they doing. Yeah, I don't get it. Somebody said, why even put her out like that as a man and father? He on some young boy vibes. Yep. Definitely some young boy vibes. But I also feel like the young man might need some help. So all I can say is I hope he get it. Shout out to my man Giovanni. He want to chime in on. Yeah, yeah, because this shit is like, I don't know. I definitely feel like he's being taken advantage of almost. Like he don't even realize what he's doing. He don't realize that he's being made a fool of at his expense. So wake up, Murray. We still love you, but cut the bullshit.